All right. Wait, hold on. I'm a little out of dress here. Hang on. Ha! There we go. Double Chef, what's happening? It is 6 p.m. Central Standard Time where I'm at. I just got online. I'm like 2 minutes and 47 seconds into the podcast stream. That's some mozzarella sticks. And then something special up in this cup. But getting ready for Survivor Series November 29th. I'm going to be bringing that up in the stream in just a few. Whoo. Talk about a hard iced tea. And this ain't no twisted tea neither. This is something my own concoction up in this cup. All right. And if y'all noticed, I got rid of the long hair. I cut that mop top off. Well, go make yourself something to eat, T. Sarah, hey, welcome in. Wrestling Inc. Let me pull up some FightfulWrestling.com. Not necessarily, like, because it's just because my hair was always put to the back. And not to mention I put some hair wax in to where it can kind of. They basically gave me a decent little fade because I always shave the sides. So I let it grow out to where they can just run a little fade like a number two fade. Basically, it's not a short fade, but it's enough of a fade to notice, and it flowed well into the sideburns. I was able to take care of the sideburns at home because I got my own little kit. I trim up my own. Right. Oh, I know it's not that bad. I just gotta basically, because my hair was always slicked back, basically my roots are so used to going that way. But give it about a week or so. Oh, haha, Sam, go fuck yourself. How your mom and them? Tell your mom to top off my phone so I can FaceTime her late night, buddy. Magical wizard or random spell? No, I'm not. Dude, I'm straight as hell. And first of all, I'm a fucking guy. I'm pretty sure I was born with a dick. I'm a dude. I'm a guy. I don't like, look, I got siblings that are LGBTQ and I got all the love and respect for them, but don't ever put me in that fucking category. You understand? Okay, I hope we're good. Hope we're good on that one. I've got a wife. I've got a woman. I've been lettuce, bacon, lettuce, gravy, bacon, and tomato. Of course, I got a job. I work in chemical production, but I'm off every weekend. That's a good thing. I work Monday through Friday. But you know what, Sam? Bye. No, this is my house, bruh. You got jokes. Well, here's a joke. Get the fuck out of here. Appreciate you, Maxwell. Yeah, I'm just pulling up some hot button topics for tonight's episode of The Shed, the week in wrestling. Monday Night Raw was good. NXT was great. SmackDown was questionable, minus the wardrobe malfunctions and all that stuff. I mean, I did get to watch some Dynamite. I just finished watching Collision. I did play a little bit of catch up. Let's see. See if we can bring up some hot button topic news. Is there any subjects that concerning the wrestling world that y'all wanna bring up? Cause I'm about it for sure. Y'all just let me know what y'all thought, or maybe y'all thoughts and opinions on stuff. Cause I will be bringing up Monday Night Raw, NXT, Collision, Dynamite, and SmackDown. Now, I did not catch anything with New Japan. I did not catch anything. What happened to Beetlejuice? I don't know. You're asking the wrong person on that one. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go ahead and get started with that. So we had a pretty decent Monday Night Raw. Of course, Cena's got 4 matches left. They announced the first 4 participants. Oh, the Boogeyman. Man, Boogeyman's been out for a while, man, but he does take independent bookings. I know he showed up for some interviews, scaring people for Halloween last week. That was pretty funny. Scaring the shit out of people like Chelsea Green. I thought that was hilarious, but that girl lost her ever-loving shit whenever she got spooked by Boogeyman. But yeah, Punk cut that promo basically challenging anybody who he feels is deserving to get a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship. He even taunted Seth Rollins by doing the big title swing. I thought that was great. Nice touch. Of course, it's coming from CM Punk. What are you expecting? He celebrated that championship win, beating Jey Uso at Saturday night's main event last Saturday. I was supposed to be wrestling that day, but I ended up having to cancel. He was my favorite back in the day. That and Bam Bam Bigelow when he, yeah. Hear you. But yeah, Punk would end up, he kicked off the show, cut that promo. Then next thing you know, he brought up names like AJ Styles, Dominic Mysterio, JD McDonough, Finn Balor, Sheamus, Cena even. You know. Next thing you know, Logan Paul interrupts, causing Punk to say anyone but you, which I love that. That was actually pretty solid. That was funny as hell. Paul would end up stating his case, saying that, before Paul Heyman, Bronson Reed, and Braun Breaker would make their presence felt, they issued a warning to Punk, and then the latter of whom didn't flinch at the prospect of earning a beatdown from the Vision. Breaker claimed Heyman bought everyone else 2 weeks of life and that he was coming for the World Heavyweight Championship. Paul teased walking out on Punk but returned to the square circle, only to endure a beatdown at the hands of the Vision. Punk would clear the ring, to wrap up that whole 26 minutes of a promo. Now, Stephanie Valkyria and Nikki Bella would kick off the first match of the night against Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez of the Judgment Day. Perez and Rodriguez did get the win over Valkyria and Nikki Bella. Next match, Penta versus El Grande Americano, the WWE Speed Champion. Dude, I've got something to talk about on that one. Like, all the shows that have been going on, all the WWE television that's been going on television, and then the people who paid for WWE to be on their platforms are now all regretting those contracts now because they're saying that it's underwhelming. You sign the contracts, people. What do you expect? Okay? But Penta would get a win over El Grande Americano. Dominic Mysterio would cut a promo saying, especially off of his, his 9th defense of the Intercontinental Championship, basically wasting no time and claiming there was no one who could stop him. Then enter Rey Mysterio. Oh, Poppy, or Pappy, or Daddy, or whatever, would come into the ring. Basically, the Hall of Famer would take exception to his son claiming to be the king of the luchadores. Calling it an insult to guys like El Santo, Blue Demon, and Eddie Guerrero. Dirty Dom claimed to be better than all of them. And more importantly, he knows he's better than his dad. But Ray fired back with, quote, "You can disrespect me all you want, but I won't let you disrespect Lucha Libre." And basically, he's like, as long as I'm still in WWE, as long as I'm still wrestling, you will never be the greatest Mysterio. And that pissed off Dom. They tried to trade off. Ray got the best of them, set him up for the 619, let him powder out. Big shine spot for the Hall of Famer, Rey Mysterio. Becky Lynch would also come out and cut a promo. She sent a warning to Maxine Dupree, welcoming her to the big time in a nod to her former big time Beck's character. On her way up the ramp, she had an interesting confrontation with the Kabuki Warriors, potentially hinting at a partnership in time for Survivor Series War Games on November 29th, which you will be able to catch me, Justin, and Jimmy live at the Shed Saturday, November 29th at the Shed for WWE Survivor Series. And this was the Survivor Series tumbler that we gave away last year. And I still use all my tumblers. Yes. Whew. That got some kick to it. Bayley and Lyra Valkyria taking on Asuka and Kairi Sane after Becky's promo. Kabuki Warriors would get the win over Bayley and Valkyria. Late in the match, Asuka would send Valkyria into Bayley, knocking her off the apron. Back inside the ring, Asuka traps Valkyria in the Asuka lock, forcing a submission for the win. World Tag Team Championships, AJ Styles and Dragon Lee would defend their championships against the Judgment Day in a rematch 2 weeks after Judgment Day losing the titles. David, welcome in. After Judgment Day losing the titles to AJ and Dragon Lee. Great back and forth match once again. Balor would end up using Sheamus' shillelagh on AJ Styles, but Lee broke up a pin attempt as the action continued to break down. The latter wiped out the 2/3 of the Judgment Day villains at ringside. So, AJ would deliver the Styles Clash to McDonough to retain the championships. CM Punk and Jey Uso would take on The Vision in the next match here. This was the main event. Great back and forth. Of course, Braun and Bronson are... I've been waiting for the stream all day. Yeah, I appreciate it, David. Thank you. Appreciate that, man. It's always going to be 6 p.m. to 6, like between 6 and 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time here on YouTube. So be sure to check in with us every Sunday. Unless we do PLEs. PLE weekends, I will not do a weekend wrestling because I will do a lot of coverage before the PLE. I'll do like the weekend wrestling before we go down the card for the PLE, which in this case is WWE Survivor Series, November 29th. Like I said, during this match, Vision dominating, absolutely dominating, until Punk and Uso, they were trying to get that big comeback. Punk would tag Jay into the match. Jay would unload on both the heels. Fight went to the floor. Double count out was the result, but not long after that, Punk would grab a steel chair to try to neutralize the heel. Logan Paul returns to the ring to stand by Punk, only to knock him out with the knucks. Logan Paul would stare down the Vision before handing over the knucks to Paul Heyman, seemingly aligning himself with the Vision. Yeah, Logan joining the Vision. Very good question there. Quite honestly, I think it could be a temporary alliance. That could be your 3 members out of the 5 for War Games. So all they got to do is pull in 2 more people, and you got yourselves a War Games match. So it's probably going to be Punk, Jay, and 3 other people they're going to have to go and recruit for War Games. They've got 3 weeks to do it. 3 weeks to do it. Can they do it? Let's find out. But he could be a temporary member of the Alliance because the Vision wants the World Heavyweight Championship. Logan wants a shot at that World Heavyweight Championship. So, a short temporary alliance to soften up the champion at War Games could be a potential good idea. I mean, if that's to me, it seems like that's the direction that they're going to go with that storyline. So it makes sense. So that will cover Monday Night Raw. Let me go ahead and get with, let's see. Now moving on to NXT. We had the Women's Speed Championship tournament starting. Fire welcome him. We had Javon Evans and Shaquan Sugars from, I just say the knockoff Retribution. Fatal Influence versus The Culling and Lola Vice. Chelsea Green and Ethan Page celebrate their AAA victory, which I love that segment. The first match was Fatal Influence versus The Culling and Lola Vice. This would be Fallon Henny, Lady Reed, and JC Jane against Izzy Dame and Tatum Paxley. Well, yeah, and Lola Vice. So, Fatal Influence would end up winning that match. Chelsea Green won the Women's United States Championship on SmackDown. I'm going to bring it up in a second. Hang on. And I've also got something to say about that win, because it made sense, but at the same time, it kind of didn't. They could have done better with Julia's build as champion, but they didn't. So, right. You know where I'm getting with that. Josh Briggs versus El Grande Americano. This was a rather quick match, honestly. Americano defeating Briggs. It was kind of a weird dynamic with both men being heels. But the crowd was cheering for a lot of things both of the guys did, so I'll give it credit on that. If it wouldn't have been for the distraction from Tavion Heights to get some interference, yeah, Americano defeating Briggs in that match, though. Yeah, I got you on that one. So, you also had Zarya versus Ren Sinclair. This this was actually not too bad of a match, but this was the a women's speed bout. Qualifier, bit of a qualifier match that whoever wins between them moves on to the final to see who's gonna face Sol Ruca for the WWE Speed Championship. Zarya would defeat Ren Sinclair from No Quarter Catch Crew in stunning fashion. Being that it was a 3-minute time limit match, of course, there's a lot of stuff happening in a short amount of time. Well done, though. Well done. Now, your TNA Knockouts champion, Kalani Jordan, would face Tyra May Steele in the next match. Jordan would defeat Steele, even though Steele really brought the fight to Kalani Jordan here. Yeah, so Ruka, well, I mean, I think she's going to be all right. She's going to be healed up in time to get into the paces because she hasn't vacated the Speed Championship yet, mind you. She had to basically vacate, but then Zarya fought for that title in her honor, losing it to Blake Monroe at the last NXT PLE event. But yeah, Kalani Jordan would defeat Steele, and Kalani was really outmatched in the power department by Tyra May Steele, but she had her agility on her side. Despite a good match, Jordan would score the victory within just a few minutes, and it was just another example of a match that felt like it was just finding its groove when it came to an end. Now, Jordan has gotten much more comfortable in the ring. I will say that watching that match. As a heel, both in the ring and on the mic, I'm loving it so far. Now, Santino Marella also appeared and booked Jordan to defeat the Knockouts title in a triple threat match. So Kalani will have to defend that Knockouts Women's Championship. All right, Shaquan Sugars from Dark State facing Javon Evans in a singles match. Evans did get the win on Sugars after all of Dark State tried to cut him off and try to give Sugars that victory. Javon was just too quick and too witty and too, let's say, reckless in a sense for him to be stopped in this match. Javon Evans getting a win on Sugars with that bouncy ass cutter into that tornado press. Love it, love it, love it. This kid is outstandingly agile. Kid got some hang time off the ropes, bro. I'll give him his credit where it's due. He's good. He's damn good for what he's got going on with him. Now, moving on to Friday Night SmackDown. Man. I don't know, bro. SmackDown was a good show. I'll give it that. I'll give it its credit. But let's see. Oh, speaking of SmackDown, there was a couple matches there. Of course, Julia versus Chelsea Green for the United States Women's Championship. The Secret Hervis in the form of Kaylee Ray. Well, sorry, Alba Fire. I know her as Kaylee Ray. Causing the slight interruption there. Giving Chelsea the opportunity to hit her with the schoolgirl pin, the most dangerous move in professional wrestling. Pinning Julia and becoming the new United States Women's Champion. Just like that, too. But here's my take on this situation. They did not put enough. I feel like, personal opinion, I feel like Julia, they could have put a little bit more on Julia to get her to a better position as champion. She could have been defending that title a lot more often, truth be told. But then having her as, more or less, as more or less a fighting champion. But as a heel, of course, you're not going to defend it as many times because you're going to try to avoid people or try to get the shit-eating dog way out of it, which it happens. It usually takes that way. Kiana James being the manager and the liaison or the agent for Julia was a nice touch. But at the same time, I just feel there was lacking substance. Why did they give her the title if they didn't book matches for her? No, they have booked matches, just not televised. Not nearly as many matches were televised because it was mostly house shows she would defend that United States Women's Championship. I just feel that they kind of dropped the ball on Julia. She got into the WWE just on hype alone. Yes, she was coming from Stardom, and God, what was that other? What's the other women's federation that she was working at before leaving or after leaving Stardom? Oh man, and they've only done like 2 or 3 shows, which kind of sucks. But I feel Julia got into WWE way too quick on the hype. She should have been in NXT longer. She really should have. But they were like, fuck it, strap a rocket to her ass and send her to the main roster in less than a year. Okay. Unfortunately, that only worked with Stephanie Vaquer. Because that girl, now Stephanie, on the other hand, okay. I love what they've done with Stephanie. They put her over for the Women's World Championship. They put her over at Crown Jewel as the first Latin American or Chilean Crown Jewel champion, and the second one in history. They've done a really good job with Stephanie Vaquer. They have done a terrible job with Julia. Now, you also had Cody Rhodes taking on Aleister Black in the main event, which that match became a disqualification by way of Drew McIntyre hitting the referee with the Claymore. What the fuck? No, not necessarily. It's okay to get a couple losses here and there, but the rate that they're putting Stephanie Vaquer over, they're putting her in the ring with some of the best because they know she is the best at what she does. They caught her at the prime time, at a prime picking time from NXT. She was there not even a year, but Julia was there not even a year. Problem being, they did not strap the rocket properly to Julia. They strapped that rocket to Stephanie Vaquer's ass very well, and they've been doing an outstanding job with her because her work in the ring answers that question. To me, her in-ring work is a lot better than Julia's. But look at the roster difference between SmackDown and Monday Night Raw. Think about it. If you would put Julia on Monday Night Raw, I'm sorry, Julia wouldn't be winning that many matches. She would be a heel. She'd probably join Asuka and Kairi Sane. That would be the best thing they could do for her right now. Move her to Monday Night Raw, put her with Asuka and Kairi. Done. But by way of pairing her up with Io Sky. Pair Julia with Io Sky, have them tag against Asuka and Kairi Sane. Let those two teams build. The payoff, Io takes the pin because Julia will turn heel. That would be perfect. That would be a great way to put Julia on Monday Night Raw with Asuka and Kairi with the Kabuki Warriors. To me, I feel like that was the best That's the best option for Julia right now. Now, there was also the WWE Women's Champion Jade Cargill coming out to make an announcement, of course, just like Punk did on Monday Night Raw, saying, you know, she's that bitch. You know, that's the line that she was using out in AEW. You know, I look forward to seeing the competition there. And then there was also the match with Charlotte and Nia Jax singles match, which, of course, y'all seen a couple of the wardrobe malfunctions. She popping it through, you popping it. See, I don't know what the problem is with who's making her gear, but they need to do a better job with the coverage. You know what I'm saying? Yes, to the guys out there, it's a perk. Grim Pillars, welcome. Who's next opponent, David? Wait, Stephanie's next opponent, or... Oh, not to mention during that match with Charlotte and Rocky City. What's up? Oh, Jade's next opponent? That's a good question, really. As champion? That's a good one. 9 times out of 10, it's probably gonna be Philly. Nice. There you go. Nothing wrong with Philadelphia, brother. The city of brotherly love, if I'm correct. I've been to Philly a couple times. I've been out to the 2300. Yeah, I've been out to the 2300 arena. Been there for a few like ECW reunion shows. I was also out there for MLW. I went out to a show out there for MLW. Wonderful building. There's a lot of history behind that building, dude. A lot of my childhood watching ECW as a kid was at the 2300. Formerly known as the ECW Arena. Now, I also worked in Hershey. I worked in Jordan. And, there was, was it Harrisburg, Pennsylvania? I think it might have been. Something off the beaten path. I've been out there like 3 or 4 times in my career as an independent wrestler. A couple jobber matches, which y'all like to call jobber matches, but I'm a performance talent. Is like that's the respectful term. Jobber is for the fucking blue-haired vets that hit the gym. What you talking about, fool? I got more pec action over here than you have in your entire body. The fuck you mean? I mean, what can I say? Your mom's my cardio. Now, my honest opinion with the whole situation with the John Cena's Last Time Is Now tournament. I like how Nick Aldis kept the last entrant as a secret. I love it. Hey, the thing with R-Truth is really good too. It's like, I'm putting my balls in your hand. It's like, hello, hi, yeah, you. If you want to come back from me, you can scrape it off the back of your mama's teeth. So that covers all my WWE stuff. Now, there's been a lot of rumors going on. I've been looking through Bleacher Report, Wrestling Inc., and Fightful. That's my top 3 news sources. Couple of them have actually been, you know, of course, with John Cena, you've got 4 more. Okay, well, who asked you? Is this your show? No, it's my show. Do yourself a favor. Have yourself a nice fucking timeout. Peace. All right, so. Now, like I said, Cena has like what, 4 appearances left. One of them, I think there's supposed to be a couple of Monday Night Raws. He's already done with SmackDown. He's done his appearances at SmackDown. He's not going to be at SmackDown. Now, between Survivor Series and just don't like that they put wrestlers in there that don't have history with Cena. Well, okay, you have a good point there. I mean, Rusev's got heat with Cena. Sheamus has got a history with Cena. You know, a couple of other ones, maybe not, but it's still an opportunity to showcase them. It's all about showcase. It's all about putting those certain stars that aren't getting enough TV time an opportunity for that spotlight to where they can, you know, that match will determine if they get more screen time later. Think about it like that. It's opportunity. Not just to face Cena, but to be put on TV more often. Now, let's see. They've been also, WWE's been also featuring the latest on Bianca Belair's injury. Now, going to Bianca Belair, she did suffer a broken finger in that triple threat match at WrestleMania. Yeah, the mystery opponent, I'm curious as to who it is. There's a whole lot of people that are saying that it's Edge or Adam Cope. There is potential with that, but at the same time, there's always somebody else who could fill that spot. Somebody you wouldn't expect. Somebody who maybe hasn't seen WWE television in a minute, but if they show up, you think that'll change the game a little bit? Maybe raise the stakes a bit? Gunther or Chris Jericho? I mean, Jericho did have some work with Cena did have some work with Jericho. Gunther, I think it's time. Because ever since Gunther lost the World Heavyweight Championship to CM Punk and then Punk losing it to Seth, I think it's about time that he comes back. I agree with you on Gunther. But let me go back to Bianca Belair here. Now, Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful provided some insight on Bianca Belair's injury. He would go on to say, quote, well, she was in town for SmackDown last week. I've mentioned this before, but her finger break was one of the worst that you can get. Specifically, the knuckle was affected. The knuckle. People in WWE didn't think it was going to be that bad because she reacted to it well backstage, but that's just because she's tougher than most. She is a tough woman. You got to give it to Bianca Belair. She is one tough she's one tough cookie. Okay. I mean, I hope she's okay. And then he would continue saying, quote, it blew up backstage and people were coming out to gawk at it. Belair has had a consistent presence on WWE television since arriving on the main roster in 2020. You know, which she's been tearing it up since 2020. Even whenever she was on the NXT, she was banging it out there too. Back whenever it was still the black and gold brand. Well, yeah. The black and gold, the original black and gold NXT. Some of the greatest stars on the main roster today came from the black and gold brand. Just saying. Now, she developed, things are a bit better with her right now. Her healing is doing well. She'll be back when she's healthy, hopefully in time for the road to WrestleMania 42. So, you never know. She could be back right before the Rumble. She might be back for Saturday Night Main Event. She could be back for Survivor Series. You never know. Gotta keep watching to find out. Now, Drew McIntyre had a update on his contract. Outside of it being, Sean Ross Sapp also did some reporting here. He would go on to say, and I quote, outside of it being into the millions of dollars per year, we're also told that there's about 2.5 years left on it. So that would carry Drew into 2028. Being I'll give it to Drew. He had to come up, get knocked down, and work his way back up again to gain that respect in the wrestling business and to gain that respect back with the WWE. He is a great talent. I'm not a big fan of the storyline he's got with Cody. and saying that, oh, everybody's against me. No, 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 no. You know, didn't really help that he was suspended by way of storyline. But be that as it may, it was entertaining television. If y'all watched SmackDown last night, you know what I'm getting at. You know, there's no reason to suspect that he will not stay in that position moving forward, regardless of what brand he appears on. Whether, you know, what doesn't matter which championship Drew chases, he's gonna be in the chase. The dude's a heavyweight. The dude's a hard hitter. The dude knows how he understands the formula of professional wrestling in WWE. Doesn't matter if he's a face or heel, but he's a better heel. I think he's a better heel. That's just me, though. Now, there's some other news that I did want to bring up. Now, there was an AEW star that made a challenge for Hiroshi Tanahashi's last match at Wrestle Kingdom 20. Yeah, he is filming a movie, right. Now, this is according to the news source at Wrestling Inc. Sam Palmer wrote this editorial here. So, yeah, Kazuchika Okada, I'm about that. Like, look, you brought his name up. I got my hair standing up on my arms. I'm like, oh, Kazuchika Okada, Hiroshi Tanahashi. Whoo! Those guys have put on some bangers at New Japan. Just saying, though. Now, after weeks and months of speculation and rumors as to who would be the man to face New Japan Pro Wrestling's president, Hiroshi Tanahashi, in his retirement match, a current AEW star who might know the Ace better than anyone, has answered the call. Following his victory over Yuto Ice in the main event of the New Japan Road and Anjo event on November 8th, which was yesterday, Tanahashi cut a promo to send the live fans home happy, but as the show was about to go off air, a familiar sound of a coin drop could be heard. So yes, Kazuchika Okada made his first appearance in New Japan since leaving the company in February of last year to confirm that, yes, he will be Hiroshi Tanahashi's opponent. It's going to be great. I can't wait. That's going to be a great show. That's going to be a good match. Even though Hiroshi, you see his hip is a little, like, his hip's been bugging him the last few years. If you notice the way he runs with a bit of a gimp. I've been seeing that for years now. I worry about Tanahashi because the same thing that's going on with Tanahashi is what is still going on with Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy has those same hip issues, very similar to Tanahashi's condition. But for the love of this business, those guys still put their bodies on the line, and I can't give them, you know, I cannot not respect them. Like, I can't do that because guys like that are the reason why the wrestling business has so many driven, determined, and hungry individuals. Doesn't matter if it's the Indies, the Big Top, Japan, the US, Canada, Mexico, the UK, hell, even Africa, soft grounds wrestling. Those guys are hungry as fuck. Let's see. Now, whew, excuse me. Let's see what we got. Oh, and then we got another wrestler from WWE who has basically got a problem, just like Paul Heyman did a while back, on his thoughts about the show WWE Unreal. Now, I'm not a fan of it because I feel just like Paul Heyman said about a couple months ago, WWE Unreal peels back that curtain way too much. I could understand talent in the back. That's a stretch. But exposing the storyline writing? Too far. Way too far. Way too damn far. I cannot. Now, now even the backstage guy, like everybody backstage has mixed feelings about this show as well. Wrestling Inc. Julian D'Alessandro would report this one. He ended up talking to Grayson Waller. Grayson Waller would go on to say, quote, "I am not a big fan of Unreal. I understand it's a really entertaining show, and a lot of my mates have watched and say, hey, they love it. But for me, I love the mystery. I don't like the magician's secrets to be revealed. But I think in wrestling, there's a certain situation with disrespect. When you do it on camera, it's different to doing it behind the scenes. When you're doing it on camera, it's for a show. We're doing it for a reason." He would end up saying, he caught this, he was quoted saying this on the Battleground podcast. I don't blame him. WWE Unreal, okay, it is an entertaining show, but to me, it exposes the wrestling business way too damn much. As a wrestler, as a talent, you know, I've never worked for WWE, but I've worked with former WWE superstars. I've been to seminars. I've asked questions. Like, dude, what is it like backstage? And they'll all give me the same thing. Look, just thinking about it, I got freaking goosebumps out the yin yang right now. Because, I mean, hell, it's a blessing and a privilege to be able to share a locker room with a former WWE superstar, a Hall of Famer. It don't matter. They have tasted the big top. And any kind of advice or information from them, if they're booked at one of the shows that I'm on, is I am forever grateful to get any kind of advice from anybody who's willing to give it. Robbie E, hell of a guy. Love him to death. I think he's still on NXT as Robert Stone, you know, talent agent, that thing. Simon Gotch, another one half of the Vaudevillains. Matter of fact, we're going to be booking him November 22nd, Livingston, Texas, at that Livingston Civic Center. Tickets are on sale now. You can get your tickets at Eventbrite/Action Pack Wrestling, Rumble at the Res too. Looking forward to that. Noam Dar is cool. I never met him. I would have loved to. He's a smart mat wrestler. Very smart chain wrestler. I love his work. Like him and JD McDonough. Oh, sorry. Jordan Devlin. That's how I know JD McDonough. JD McDonough, Jordan Devlin. Anyway, those two guys, whenever they worked at NXT UK, fucking chef's kiss when it came to their matches, dude. Those dudes can chain all day long. They can work a match off of a wrist lock for like 10 minutes. I'm serious. Very classic style. I love their high impact. They may be short boys. They may be small guys, but they pack a big wallop in their matches. And I've never been disappointed with either one of them whenever they work guys their size. Or even guys slightly bigger than them. Because they are small dudes. They're like cruiserweights. Literally, they're cruiserweights. Now, when it comes to that situation, though, with WWE Unreal, I don't know how you feel about it, but I'm like, it's okay. It is entertaining to the ill-informed wrestling fan or the ones who are just watching it to watch it and they're not fans. Giving them the insider, fine. But to other workers like myself and other wrestlers who end up choosing not to watch the show because it, like I said, it peels back that curtain a little bit too much. I mean, that's how I found out that the Freddie Prinze Jr. used to be a writer for WWE. Or, God, what was that show on Vice TV? Other than was it the Territories episodes? Not Dark Side of the Ring, but the Territories episodes on Vice. You would see Freddie Prinze Jr. and it would say Freddie Prinze Jr., former WWE writer. Like, what? Freddie Prinze used to write storylines? The fuck? And then I started looking at a lot of his work, like the times that he was writing for either Monday Night Raw or Friday Night. Mostly it was Monday Night Raw. He wrote a few times for SmackDown, but I think his homestead was Monday Night Raw because he liked what he was doing there. They liked what he was doing for Monday Night Raw. Now, let's see. Let's see. What's another thing that we can particularly talk about here? Oh, dude. For those who watch Deadlock Pro Wrestling, DPW, they are going to be, unfortunately, saying goodbye. They announced their final shows and their hiatus. The independent scene will be bidding farewell to one of its most beloved promotions. This is a editorial done by Sam Palmer at Wrestling Inc. In the near future, and it has been officially announced that Deadlock Pro Wrestling, better known to many fans as DPW, will be going on an indefinite hiatus after their final 2 shows. The official Deadlock Pro Wrestling X, formerly known as Twitter account, confirmed that the promotion's 4th anniversary show that is set to take place on December 12th in Cary, North Carolina, will not only be the final DPW event for 2025, but the final event in the United States for the foreseeable future. Deadlock Pro Wrestling has had a lot of good workers in that company. Look it up here on YouTube. Deadlock Pro Wrestling. Guys like Calvin Tankman. You probably recognize that name from MLW. There's quite a few MLW names that go work at Deadlock Pro. But yeah, I mean, DPW will host one final event in 2026 in Japan now. But next month will be their last U.S. show. The final event in 2026 will be on a date that's yet to be announced, but after that show, the promotion will no longer be hosting any events for a while. In light of this, the 4th anniversary show will be a fundraiser event where all the tickets will be $1, plus fees and tax, of course. And all the money raised at the gate will be donated to a local food bank, the Food Bank of Central and Eastern North Carolina. There will also be an option to donate to the charity when purchasing tickets. Donations will be collected at the event itself, and the amount of money raised in donations at the gate will then be matched up to $10,000. That's class. That is straight fucking class. I love that for DPW. It's sad to see that company go down after 4 years. It's a heartbreaker because they have produced a lot of great talent in the independent scene. And these guys were coming out of DPW, and there's sometimes they would trade talent from MLW a bit as well. You know, founded in 2021 by the hosts of the Deadlock podcast, James Darnell, John Blood, and Anthony Douglas, DPW has become one of the most celebrated independent promotions of the last few years. Javon Evans and Shaquan Sugars from NXT came from Deadlock Pro. Oh, Ray Phoenix and Talatonga. Yeah, Tala basically dominated Ray Phoenix by help of the MFTs, of course. I did forget that match, and I apologize. No, but yeah, Javon Evans and Shaquan Sugars both got their big breaks in Deadlock Pro Wrestling, with both men holding the DPW World's Championship in 2022 and 2023. Stars like Adam Priest, Mad Dog Conley, Violence is Forever. They all became mainstays of the company and have all benefited from their time there. And even established names from both AEW and WWE, such as Konosuke Takeshita, FTR, the Motor City Machine Guns passed through that brand quite a few times over the last 4 years before they got the contract with WWE. You know, so you know, it sucks to hear the news of Deadlock Pro shutting their doors under a hiatus. But if it means anything, and if anybody shares this to Deadlock Pro Wrestling's YouTube or Twitter or X, DPW, Deadlock Pro Wrestling, thank you. Thank you for producing amazing talents, amazing shows, even in the most bleak of situations and the most devastating odds. And we hope to see DPW back on the scene soon. So with that, it's been good, brother. We'll see you when we see you. Now, moving a little further down. Oh, we do have an update on Zoe Stark. You remember how she did mess up her knee a few months back. It sucked to hear that news, and man, she tried to do that springboard, and oh God, the way her leg just That wasn't good. That wasn't good at all. That scared the hell out of me. She did tear her ACL, MCL, and meniscus in a triple threat match. Uh, that was the one where she did that springboard and landed super, super, super awkward. Now, according to Body Slam Plus, Stark's current trajectory has her circling a return somewhere around the middle of 2026. With that being said, Stark's recovery is reportedly going well, with WWE officials still very high on her as an in-ring performer. Those same officials have reportedly begun discussions about Stark's character direction as well, specifically as a potential babyface upon her in-ring return. Zoe Stark as a face? Well, she's not with that faction no more. There's no more faction that she's in, so I think that would be a good idea. What I mean, what y'all think? You think Zoe Stark would would make a return as a face, or do y'all think it would be a good idea to make her a face upon her return? Yeah, it was a match with Rhea Ripley and Kairi Sane, triple threat Money in the Bank qualifier. That's what it was. Yeah, Stark was removed from the ring after landing awkwardly off of a springboard drop kick. Reports suggested that Stark was originally meant to be pinned by Ripley, but instead Ripley pinned Kairi Sane to secure her place in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Yeah, man. ACL, MCL, and meniscus. She ended up getting that surgery at Rothman Orthopedics in Orlando days later. Hey, dude, there's so many good things that I've heard about Rothman Orthopedics. They are the go-to company for a lot of athletes whenever it comes to knee injuries. I'm really happy to see that she's going to be back next year. Now, Mike Santana would name a WWE superstar a while back. Well, actually, that was today, actually. An editorial done by Ella J from Wrestling Inc. Did this report on Santana. While appearing on No Contest Wrestling, Santana revealed that he's eyeing a match with current WWE World Tag Team Champion and former TNA star AJ Styles. Man, AJ Styles, Mike Santana, TNA World Championship match? Damn, that would be a banger, dude. I like the sound of that. See, I'm with you on that one, David. I would not mind watching that. But, B-U-T-T, I wonder if TNA is going to use his TNA music again like they did to him. Because, see, AJ didn't want TNA to play his TNA music. He didn't want the producers to play his music after, what was it, Homeboy beat Moose for the X Division Championship. Which, I love that dude. He's great. But he came out to give the kid some props, being the youngest TNA X Division champion against one of the originators of the X Division, AJ Styles. You know, the moment I heard "Get Ready to Fly," I was like, they fucking did it. Cause see, AJ did an interview with Chris Van Vliet, and he said, "How would you feel if you made an appearance back in TNA?" He's like, "As long as they don't use my old music." Guess what? They used it. But that music is synonymous with the character of AJ Styles at TNA. So, you know, why not? For nostalgia's sake, it made sense. Even though AJ didn't like the idea, it was still a nostalgia kick. So, with that being said, Santana will go on to say, quote, "I've been very blessed in my career to have worked with so many different people, especially people that I grew up watching, guys that I played with their action figures, guys that I've idolized. I've been very blessed, but there's only one dream match that I'm chasing. There's one left for me, and that is AJ Styles." Man, he says, he goes on to continue. He says, quote, AJ Styles, for me, there is no one like him. I think when he's gone, there ain't going to be no one like him. The fact that he hasn't been in TNA since 2015, the fact that he's still recognized till this day after every amazing thing he has done since leaving, the fact that he's still synonymous with TNA and is still considered the face of the original homegrown talent of TNA, it speaks volumes. The fact that he goes on to say, and I quote, the fact that I'm also in this position as the face of the company and another homegrown talent of TNA, I think the story is there. The story writes itself. Okay, Santana. I see you, bro. I know, yeah, AJ is retiring next year. So maybe him facing Santana during the retirement tour? Book that shit. Just saying, book that shit. Hashtag book that shit. I am behind it 100%. 100%. I like that idea. Woo! Now, I did go into I did get to watch AEW Dynamite, and I did get to watch he has to face Samoa Joe too. Yes! Yes! Well, you already know how Mike Santana feels about AEW. Wouldn't be a bad idea for Samoa Joe to show up at TNA one more time. Because, I mean, if you're going to prove yourself to be one of the greatest TNA world champions, who was one of those TNA world champions? The Samoan submission machine, Samoa Joe. AJ Styles. Bobby Roode, which I miss Bobby. I miss Bobby Roode wrestling, man. I really do, because that dude was a very, very methodical wrestler. He reminded me of Randy Orton with a beard.
This is an Etsy holiday ad.
Like, he had a similar build to Randy Orton at one point, especially in his last days at TNA. Who's another one I could see Santana facing? Cowboy James Storm. Oh, yeah. James Storm and Santana doing it out for the TNA World Championship. That would be a hell of a champions tour, basically. Like Santana facing all the greatest former TNA World Champions. Hell, R-Truth. Well, actually, no. R-Truth was Round of Truth Killings, but he was NWA World Heavyweight Champion, not TNA World Heavyweight Champion. Frankie Kazarian. Yeah, definitely. I'm about it. Now, like I said earlier, going back to AEW, man, now, pardon my yawning here. My honest opinion about AEW right now is that they bit off a whole lot more than they can chew way too early in the run. They were going off of the hype of having Cody and Kenny and the Bucks and Moxley and Jericho, all these big ass names that went into AEW and packing out huge arenas in the first 2 years. Now, fast forward to they started in late 2018, going into 2019. 2020, that basically cut it down. Once COVID lockdown happened and it was done and over with, and they tried to go back into the stadium, like into the big ass arenas, the seats started dwindling down. I feel they should have went to the civic centers. Because them civic centers, you can still put 4,000 or 5,000 people in them if you find the right one. I think that would have been best option. But they tried, they scheduled way too many big arenas way too soon. And AEW started losing money as opposed to making money. Now they're stuck in these little civic centers. Now, All In, All Out, like all their pay-per-views, I could see them filling out a big arena. They can at least, if they can get to at least 70, 80% capacity for their big pay-per-views, perfect. But until then, your weekly episodes stay in the small, like 4,000 to 6,000 seat arenas. You'll still make money off of the events. You're still under contract with TBS and TNT. Run with that. Because if you noticed, they packed the civic centers. But those same numbers in the civic centers do not compare to the big arenas. Like the 8 to 10,000 seaters, the 12,000 seaters, the 14,000 seaters. WWE can do that lickety freaking split. AEW, yeah, not so much. But they've been doing really well with the smaller arenas, the smaller, like the civic centers. Anything under 6,000 or 7,000, I'd say, they could probably pack a 7,000 seater. But at the same time, I'd rather them try to keep it under, like building 6,000 and under. To where there is limited seating, you're still going to make money. Your stars are still going to make their money. The wrestlers are still going to earn their keep. And you're not spending so much on an arena that you're not going to pack. Because for like 2021, 2022, 2023, the seating was terrible. There were so many blacked out sections that, like, what's the point? What's the point of booking these big ass arenas? I think if AEW was created maybe 9 years ago, it would be bigger. True. I agree with that. But I kind of feel they're doing good with the smaller arenas. They did well with the 2,300, the ECW arena a while back. They were in Texas quite a few times with that arena. They packed it out. They filmed a few weeks worth of Dynamite and Collision in that same building. If you noticed. Because a couple of weeks back to back, they had the same people sitting ringside. Because they filmed basically almost a month's worth of Dynamite and Collision from that same venue. Now, they could have been bigger. They could have been better, but they didn't. But that's what happens whenever you bite off more than you can chew. So I say the best of luck for AEW. They've been doing really well so far. Hangman Adam Page as your AEW World's Champion is nice to see. It's refreshing. Seeing Chris Statlander as your Women's World Champion is very nice to see. I can't stand Mercedes Moné. She was better as Sasha Banks. Ever since she left because, she had her reasons of leaving WWE. Her and Trinity left at the same time because they got it in their heads that they weren't going to lose those women tag teams championships, but they did. They didn't like the fact that it was happening, so they vacated the belts and said, I'm fucking out of here. That's on them. That's their business. The only difference is Trinity came back. And guess what? Within a year or two of Trinity coming back to WWE, guess what? She became a Women's World Champion. Now, I like Mercedes, but I don't like how they're putting her through all this. Now, she's picking up independent women's titles all over the world. She's basically the women's version of Ultimo Dragon. Ultimo was one of my favorite wrestlers growing up as a kid. One of my favorite masked wrestlers. Yeah, she doesn't need that many damn titles. She's basically the female Ultimo Dragon with all these damn titles draped across her arms, her chest, her waist. The next thing you know, she's going to have to double them over around her fucking thighs. She's going to look like a goddamn championship belt megazord over here. Now, once again, she is facing Chris Statlander at Full Gear for the AEW Women's Championship. I think that would be a great matchup. I'm actually looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to watching that one at Full Gear. I think that is November 22nd. Damn, I'm not going to be able to watch it. Why? Because your boy right here is scheduled to wrestle November 22nd, Livingston, Texas. I think it's called Showdown at the Res 2. Matter of fact, look, let me see if I can. Let me see if I can. Let me grab that. Let me grab that promo flyer real fast. Hang on. I got it. I got that. Hold on. Here we go. Bam. Whoop. Showdown at the Res 2. Going to be held at the Multipurpose Center in Livingston, Texas, Saturday, November 22nd, featuring former WWE and MLW stars Simon Gotch. Also, Pablo Cruz and Paul Titan from the Pillars of Destiny. You can get your tickets at the door. Let's see, doors open, I believe, at 6 p.m. with a bell time of 7. So, looking forward to this event. I am beyond ready for it. So, you know, I'm pretty stoked about it. This will be my first time back in APW in about 2 years. Being a former 2-time APW hybrid champion. Hybrid champion. So, if you want to tell me to lose some weight, why don't you go check my, like, for those ones who, yeah, of course I wrestle. Like, hold on. That's me right there. I'm on the flyer. I'm scheduled to be in action. Yes, sir. Matter of fact, let me pull up the last 2 times I've been hybrid champion for them. Let's see. My first championship was a show that actually we hosted Simon Gotch. Simon Gotch was there for that show. Go figure. Let's see, where's it at? I know it's kind of early in my photo library here. Whoop, a little too far. All right, let's see. Boom. When I first became APW Hybrid Champion, I was the inaugural Hybrid Champion for Action Pack Wrestling. Then moving on, couple years later, let's see, where's that other picture? All right, and then moving into 2023, I became a 2-time APW Hybrid Champion via a ladder match against Pablo Cruz and Ashton Blake. We brought the roof down at that building. Even though it was so hot in there, once we got to that main event, kids were puking up blue Takis. It was bad. It was so bad. But every fan stayed put and watched that whole match. Yeah. And it's Hawkinz, not S-Z, please. You have no idea how many promoters have misspelled my name. 16 years in the business. I started in 2009 with Gulf Coast Wrestling in Morgan City, Louisiana. I was trained by Mustang Mike and Flip the Wolfman Jackson. Then 2 years later, Flip, my big bro mentor, he nudged me towards former WWE superstars Rodney Mack and Jazz for them to help me polish up, give me a thicker layer of skin for the business. Because, I learned as much as he could teach me. And when he realized that he couldn't teach me any more than what he already knew, he pushed me towards Rodney Mack and Jazz with Dog Pound Academy, which they are now based out of San Antonio, Texas, and have signed, not long ago, they signed a deal with the National Wrestling Alliance, the NWA. So now Dog Pound Championship Wrestling is NWA affiliated. I've worked for Dog Pound Championship a couple times before they converted out and they moved out to Texas. My debut for Dog Pound Championship Wrestling was against Rodney Mack, go figure. And Rodney Mack and Jazz were trained by the late, great Junkyard Dog and Hardway Rod Price. No, not Revolver. I never worked for Revolver. I want to work for Revolver, though. I've been trying to get booked out there, but, my networking isn't all that great. There's some great talents at Revolver. I've watched. Trust me, I watch. I watch as much as I train, and that's a lot. So don't let the gut fool you. This boy can go, and I'm agile as fuck. For a guy who's 5'7" and 250 pounds, I'm damn agile. Oh, Myron Reed, I fucking love that dude. Hey, a multiple-time MLW middleweight champion And isn't he with the Rascals right now with TNA? If I'm not mistaken, yeah, he's in the Rascals for TNA. That should be right. But yeah, man, I think that pretty much cuts it. That's gonna be our episode, man. I appreciate everybody for coming in. David, thank you so much for being in the chat, being respectful, bringing up great topics, great subjects. For anybody else who's in the chat, appreciate the likes, appreciate the shares. We have been live for an hour and 15 minutes. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna call this a show. I want to thank everybody for coming in, and tune in with me next Sunday between 6 and 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time for our next episode of the Weekend Wrestling live stream. With that being said, on behalf of Cajun Daddy Trucker Jimmy Foo Show, JT Gaming, Justin Toops, I am Just Built Different Cody Hawkinz, and we'll see you next week on the next episode of the Weekend Wrestling, brought to you by Little East Creations and the